All right, tomorrow the House expected to vote on phase 3.5 of the coronavirus relief package after the Senate reaches a deal on this nearly $500 billion plan.
The noble fight against the invisible enemy has inflicted a steep toll on the American workforce.
We want to make sure this money is available to small businesses that need it. There'll be a lot more. So we look forward to this having a big impact on the economy.
But small businesses are still struggling, and our panel of economic experts on deck here to offer their advice to business owners trying to stay afloat right now, and it is a struggle. Joining me live is CPA Gene Marks, former chief economist for the International Trade Commission, Peter Morici, and partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers, Mitch Roschelle. Gentlemen, thanks so much for coming on. We really do appreciate it this morning. Gene, we're going to start with you. The plan as it is right now, how do you think this will fare, and how long do you think it'll last?
Not very long, Rob. First of all, it's a good thing. I know there are a lot of businesses that are out there that are really desperate for the money. So we're telling all of our clients right now, as soon as the cash becomes available, to make sure that you go and apply for those loans. Check with your financial institution to make sure that your application is still in line. Most of us are expecting the money to be used pretty quickly, but it will be put to very, very good use. Some of the things that are missing from the bill, I wish were there. But in the meantime, I think that small businesses, they need to make sure they get their applications in. One big recommendation that I have for a lot of businesses, there's been money put aside for smaller and community banks as well, specifically. So I've been hearing from a lot of my clients, Rob, that they've been getting better service from those community banks versus the larger banks, and also the online lenders. On Deck Capital, Cabbage, PayPal, there's a few of them. They've been providing a very, very good venue for applying for these paycheck protection loans.
Yep.
And so I do recommend you go after them, through that venue as well. People
were worried if you weren't a Chase or a Bank of America, Wells Fargo, you weren't going to get taken care of, but they're working on that. Peter, let's look at the breakdown here. $484 billion, $321 going to the PPP. And as you look at the numbers as it goes down, there are more things that the Democrats were pushing hard for. What do you make of this plan?
Well, I think it's a good supplement to what we already had. $350 billion was never going to be enough when we had a $1 trillion problem. Half of the jobs in America are provided by businesses with less than 500 people. Yeah. And that's who this bill is primarily aimed at. So my feeling is this money will last another month, 4 or 5 weeks. But let's remember that the Federal Reserve also has a Main Street lending program. So between the first tranche, the second tranche, and the Main Street lending program, we'll probably have enough money to get us to the recovery stage, where the Congress will be looking at methods of, bringing customers back into their businesses. By that time, the doors will be opening. And so this is likely a good bridge, and it'll get us to where we need to be. Okay. Looking forward, though, I think it's very, very important to put more money in consumers' pockets and to change the emphasis the next time around to basically paying anybody who employs somebody a supplement at this time, so we encourage jobs creation.
That's an interesting perspective there. Mitch, the one thing when you look at this breakdown that it doesn't really account for is the level of need of a business. There are businesses that are going to be finished tomorrow if they don't get money, and there are some businesses that have already gotten their money that probably won't need it for months. How problematic is that?
I think given how quickly this program got put together, Rob, they had to leave out some of those typical credit underwriting criteria that you may have, like need, and they just based it on payroll. So this is a surrogate for companies that would have otherwise let their people go and put them on the unemployment roll. So this is a means of keeping the employees, even if they're not being productive and working, but keeping them on the payroll so that they can get paychecks. So the name of the program is the Paycheck Protection Program, and I think that that's really what's driving this this impetus to keep people employed.
Gene, let's go to the president now, and he's talking about infrastructure as part of a phase 4.
Part of phase 4, and I think infrastructure is going to be a big part. We have to rebuild our country, and that means our bridges, our tunnels, even schools. We're going to spend money now on our country, and it's going to be our jobs.
Gene, the infrastructure in this country is an embarrassment. Is this the right time to be making that move?
It's not a bad time, Rob. I mean, as Peter had said, small businesses in this country provide more than 50% of the jobs, and I got to tell you, there's a great majority, a great percentage of small businesses that are in the construction industry that are indirectly connected to the construction industry. You know them, right? The contractors, drywall people, landscape. There's people themselves. If there's infrastructure spending that's going on there, they will also benefit from this. So it has an overall impact on the quality of our infrastructure, but I think it will provide funding and jobs to a lot of small businesses. So I'm a big supporter of that.
Peter, we're going to go to you one more time here. Rand Paul yesterday was the lone Republican going against this thing. We're spending money like it's going out of style. What about the national debt?
I'm not too worried about it because a lot of this national debt's really not getting held by the public. The Federal Reserve is buying U.S. Treasury securities so rapidly that we're essentially financing it that way.
Yeah.
One of the things to remember is that when the Federal Reserve holds the debt as opposed to the public, the Treasury, say in the middle of the year, pays the interest on this new debt. But at the end of the year, the Federal Reserve has this huge surplus on its books because it doesn't need that interest, and it just refunds it to the Treasury, so it round trips. Effectively, right now, Mr. Paul, who doesn't understand monetary policy very well but likes to pontificate this way, effectively, this is zero interest financing.
Okay. All right. Mitch, you only got to talk one time, and we apologize for that, but we promise we'll have you back to the show. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.